Hello, I haven't. Oh, that's good. That's a good start. Hello, welcome to the Tudor Cottage Diaries. This is more a personal vlog about me and my menopause journey. I haven't scripted it, I haven't researched it, and I'm just going to tell you a bit about me. I'm currently sat in the cozy nook. It's evening. It's a Sunday, so I've been to work today, but I've got myself my favourite tea, Fortnum and Mason's tea, and I want to talk about the menopause. For me, my period stopped 5 years ago, and no one had a conversation with me about the menopause, and I started to fairly quickly get some strange symptoms that it's only now that I look back on and I can go, that was the menopause. I found my tolerance of people was dropping off. So my threshold for going off the Richter scale, angry, road rage, diminished. And where I was quite a calm person most of the time, I found that I was angry a lot of the time. Aches and pains in not the usual places, because I suffer from hip dysplasia. So it was more than my hips hurting. It was my ankles, my wrists. And I started to take on water, bloating. I noticed my body shape changing. I noticed my bra size going down, which was a bit of a shock as my hips, belly and thighs went up. I think I became... I'd soon realise that the face that was looking back at me in the mirror wasn't a face I particularly liked. So I stopped doing things that I enjoyed doing. For instance, going to the hairdresser so frequently, having the colour put in my hair. My hair got darker, it got straggly. I plucked out most of my eyebrows. I didn't look after my skin. I then had my skin changed. It thickened in areas. Also, I noticed that I started getting this itching, this constant itching of my scalp and my facial skin. And I just literally felt like I could draw blood to stop that itching. I swapped everything from my shampoo, my conditioner, my skincare routine, the makeup. Nothing would make that itching go away, and that rash. I just looked all the time like my face was angry, and I can remember that being one of the most heartbreaking things. My mother took me to a spa for a 3-day weekend for myself and her, just to have a bit of us time. And I had a bit of a revelation there. I met a young lady who was in the Clarence area. She doesn't work at the spa anymore. I'm not going to name the spa, but she said to me, use Bare Minerals. So she went and got it from her own makeup case, and she showed me that Bare Minerals would cover that red rash. Although it was still there, I knew it was there. Suddenly, when I looked at myself in mirrors, it had gone. It was like the Bare Minerals. I think it was the green corrector, then the mineral veil, and then the mineral beige foundation that she put on me. I literally went back to my room at the spa and I ordered myself, and I've never changed. I'm still on the Bare Minerals range now, although my skin is now fine. I noticed my teeth had gone yellow and that I was starting to get quite a few toothaches. Being able to walk. I used to be able to walk and walk and walk. Even with hip pain, I could power on through. But suddenly I was like, meh. And my husband was walking the dog more and more without me. My libido went. Sharing that on here. I'm very lucky. I'm blessed with the most loving husband who he didn't bother me. He just tried to support me, but I don't think he even knew what I was going through. I don't think he even understood what the menopause was doing to me, because we didn't know it was a menopause. We thought it was me, angry Heidi. work became a big problem. I would drive in, and just as soon as I got to the car park, this anger cloud would just hover above me, and I'd go in, and everyone was needy and picky and would come up to me as soon as I walked through the door. I hadn't even taken my coat off or put my lunchbox in the fridge or anything. I could be half an hour early into work and people were suddenly asking questions, and to me that was just like, and it just felt like all day I was being constantly bombarded with neediness. And then the drive home, I'd be so excited to see my boys, to see David and Archie and Lincoln. And then I'd pull up on the drive and this anger would come over me that the house was full of people already that were all talking, and the dog was barking, and the TV was on and they wanted my attention. So I started to retreat to my office. My office became my sanctuary in the garden. My sleep patterns changed. I was an all-night sleeper. No problems at all. 7, 8 hours sleep, easy, drop off. Really good quality sleep. And suddenly I was up at 1, 2, 3 in the morning, sat in my office, trying to find an answer, and I couldn't find it. My appetite changed, the way I ate food. I noticed that certain foods affected me. So I was literally sometimes running, this is too much information. I was running to the loo, like absolutely panicked that I was going to shit my pants, literally. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand what was going on. I've never suffered from mental health issues, and I didn't understand mental health issues. I tried to understand. I would listen to people, but because I didn't ever have those issues, even through my infertility and even through the loss of our first baby, I was sad and I cried and it upset me, but my mental health was stable. But now suddenly these dark thoughts were entering my head, and they started off with world anarchy or world wars, or yeah, who knew, pandemic on the way, yeah, things like that. And then it became darker in the fact that I started to see the family without me in it. I started to dream of driving to a hotel and leaving the family and setting up in a hotel. I couldn't afford that, but that was something that was going through my mind. Retreating to Cornwall, and somehow I managed to get this gorgeous 2-bed house by the sea, and I lived in it on my own and left my family here. All these weird daydreams and night frights were hitting my mind, and it was like a bombardment. Then I started hearing voices. I'm not schizophrenic, but I did start to hear voices, and these voices were just muffled and angry, and they made me angry. And then I realized more and more that it's tinnitus, and this has started. So now there's a constant buzz in the background. So not only am I mentally trying to deal with my dark thoughts, the fact that I don't want to be around people at work, I don't want to be around people that I live with, I can't be bothered to go and see my parents, I can't be bothered to go and see my brother, I can't be bothered to garden, really. I didn't muck out the chickens for weeks on end. Just lost interest, but still didn't know what it was. I can remember going to try on clothes, and where I used to be a standard 14, I'm now in 16 and 18, and that was just heartbreaking. I thought, excuse my language, fuck it. I'm not going to get nice clothes. And so I progressed to leggings and elasticated waists and clothes that I didn't particularly like. I just bought them because they covered this body that I didn't like anymore. Yeah, and it was hard times. It was very hard times. I had a few issues at work that were very serious, where I didn't handle situations correctly, and the management team at that time were not set up to deal with the menopause. I worked for a huge company that, thank goodness, has now got the most amazing diversity, the most amazing policies to look after people in the workplace, and one of them being the menopause policy. There's been TED Talks. I had a change of management. Unfortunately, there was an incident where I let the store down, I let myself down. But instead of throwing the book at me, instead of not being supportive, my manager sat me in a room and she said to me, "What's going on?" And I can remember I made her cry because I cried. I kind of thought something has got to change here. But I just didn't know what that was. And so, yes, my boss said, "What's going on?" And I tried to explain to her, and she listened and she cried with me, and she said, "Right, you're going home." And she sent me home to go and get out. And then she sent me the most amazing menopause care box. It had soaps in it. It had a colouring book in it with quite a lot of swear words in it. It had a mindfulness journal, which I used every day for the best part of a year. It had some crystals in it. It had menopause tea in it. It had just the most beautiful caring box. And I looked at this that had arrived and I thought, I need to do something. And luckily for me, there was a TV program on that was run by, oh gosh, Brain Fog. That's another one. So Brain Fog, oh my God, over the last 4 years, I feel like my faculties have been completely run through the ringer with not being able to remember stuff, basic procedures at work, people's faces, people's names, telephone program, all the stuff, plants in the garden, you know, my passion. This brain would not listen and tell me. So I'm going to have to pause this because I need to think who this person is. Oh, Davina McCall. It's just come to me. Davina McCall put a TV program on and I sat and I watched it and I cried. And I can remember my husband but sat on the opposite sofa and we didn't make eye contact. And I just sobbed and cried through this program. And then the next day I made the doctor's appointment and got seen fairly quickly, considering that we've had COVID and everything. And I went to the doctor and he was useless. He sent in 2 students that weren't that interested in my menopause. They wanted to talk about my hip dysplasia. And I can remember being desolate. And then he came and got me and took me in the room. And I talked to him and he advised me to have antidepressants and said that I was depressed. And I said, "No, I think I'm menopausal." And he said, "No, you're not." So I put in a complaint about him because I suddenly felt stronger thanks to Davina and my boss. And I put in a complaint and I got referred to a female doctor from my practice that is apparently a menopause expert. Who knew? Anyway, cue a 30-minute conversation. And she suggested I try the hormone replacement patches and a progesterone tablet, which is taken every night. And I've been on this medication for the last 2 years. 3 years. 2 years. 2 years. I've had to go back and I am now on the HRT pump. However, the world is brighter. It's like a clog. It is like a fog has lifted on my life. And the reason I'm doing this video is that if I share this and just one of you recognises some of your symptoms and just one of you goes to the doctor and says, "It's me, it's my best friend, or it's my wife," you recognise it and you get help, then I feel like sharing my story in 15 minutes, because that's all I get from YouTube, it was worth it. So yes, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Get help. And I'm going to drink my Fortnum & Mason smoky black tea. And I want to wish you all well. And hopefully this has been of help to you. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. It helps my channel. Goodbye.